1. Awakening in the Labyrinth. The air was thick with antiseptic, a sterile blanket that clung to Alex Mercer's skin like a second layer of ice. As he blinked against the harsh fluorescent lights overhead, confusion swallowed him whole. The cold metallic surface beneath him was unforgiving, a reminder that he was not in a place of safety. Panic gripped his chest, constricting like the very straps that held him down. A cacophony of beeps and whirs surrounded him, each sound a mocking reminder of his vulnerability. Breathe, he told himself, though it felt like an impossible task. The world was swirling, fragmented images flashing behind his eyes, a woman's face, laughter, a shadow creeping in the corner of his mind. He gasped, lungs burning, as his body surged with unfamiliar strength. With a jolt, he yanked at the restraints, metal biting into his wrists, a cruel reminder of his captivity. "Get off me!" he shouted, voice hoarse and raw. Alarms blared in response, red lights pulsing like a heartbeat, intensifying the chaos in his head. The monitors around him flickered, displaying erratic lines and graphs that danced mockingly, a world of data he could not comprehend, yet somehow he felt it was his. Alex Mercer, a calm voice cut through the din, warm and authoritative. "Stop struggling, you're safe." "Safe?" He laughed, the sound bitter and hollow. "I'm strapped to a table in a lab. What's safe about this?" The woman stepped closer, her figure framed by the sterile light. Dr. Elena Vasquez, he discerned, though the name felt like a whisper on the edge of his memory. She was a stark contrast to the coldness of the laboratory, her presence radiating warmth. Her long dark hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and her brown eyes sparkled with determination, as if she carried the weight of hope on her shoulders. "Your enhanced abilities are responding to your panic," she said, her voice steady. "You need to calm down." Enhanced? The word felt foreign, heavy with implications. As he struggled against the straps, a flicker of recognition shot through him. Images of training, of pain, of being molded into something other than human. "What did you do to me?" "I'm here to help you," she insisted, stepping forward and reaching for the straps. "But you need to trust me. We have little time." With a swift motion, she unstrapped his wrists. The moment the metal fell away, Alex shot up, muscles coiled like springs, ready to fight or flee. The reality of his situation crashed over him in waves. He was in a deep underground military base, a hidden fortress of the one-world government. He could feel it in the sterile air, the oppressive weight of secrets hanging thickly around him. "What the hell is going on?" he demanded, casting a glance around the lab. It was filled with rows of machines, each more sinister than the last, tubes snaking like veins through the walls. Shadows flickered in the corners, remnants of experiments long forgotten. "Alex, listen," Elena said, her voice urgent. "You're part of a super soldier program. The one-world government has been manipulating people like you for years. We need to get out of here." "Manipulating people like me?" His heart raced, anger mixing with confusion. "You mean I'm just another pawn in their game?" Elena nodded, stepping back as if to gauge his reaction. "Yes, but you have a choice now. You can fight back. The Black Crown families, they control everything. Finance, media, the very reality we live in. They distort truth, using dark magic to keep humanity enslaved." "Magic?" he scoffed, incredulous. "You expect me to believe that? I'm just some experiment, an experiment with potential," she replied, her voice unwavering. "You possess enhanced strength, speed, and reflexes. You were designed to be a weapon, but now you can choose to be more than that." "More than that?" He laughed bitterly, the sound echoing in the sterile room. "What does that even mean?" Before she could answer, alarms blared louder, a piercing shriek that rattled the glass in the room. Red lights flashed ominously as the ground trembled beneath them. "They're here," Elena said, urgency flooding her tone. "We need to move. Now." "Who's here?" he demanded, though he already knew. The shadow operatives of the one-world government. Their presence loomed like a dark cloud, ready to snuff out any flicker of rebellion. "Follow me," Elena beckoned, sprinting toward the door. Alex hesitated for only a moment, glancing back at the monitors that displayed frantic data. Panic coursed through him like electricity, but he knew he had little choice. He was alive. He needed to stay that way. In a flash, he was behind her, the metal corridors of the dumb stretching out like a labyrinth ahead. They raced past locked doors and flickering lights, the air thick with the scent of fear and desperation. His heart pounded in his chest, an echoing drumbeat of primal instinct urging him forward. "Elena," he called, catching up to her. "What do? I don't know how to fight." "Just trust your instincts," she shouted as they rounded a corner. "You'll know what to do when the time comes." As if summoned by her words, 2 shadow operatives emerged from a doorway ahead, clad in tactical gear, their faces obscured by masks. They raised their weapons, ready to fire. "Get down!" Elena shouted, diving to the side. Alex followed instinctively, adrenaline surging through him. The operatives opened fire, bullets ricocheting off the walls, sending sparks flying. "Alex!" Elena's voice cut through the chaos. "Now!" Without thinking, he surged forward, fueled by instinct. He ducked beneath the fire, feeling the rush of power coursing through him. With a swift motion, he grabbed one of the operatives, his enhanced strength catching the man off guard. Alex pulled him close, using his momentum to throw him against the wall with a sickening thud. "Holy..." He gasped, eyes wide as he realized what he had done. The second operative turned, panic flickering in his gaze as he raised his weapon. "Get back!" Alex yelled, the words spilling out before he could think. He charged forward, using his body to tackle the man, both of them crashing to the ground. The operative struggled, but Alex was fueled by a primal rage, the darkness of his past merging with the present. In a heartbeat, the skirmish was over. The operative lay unconscious, and Alex found himself panting on top of him, the weight of the encounter crashing over him like a wave. "What just happened?" he stammered, staring at his hands, shaking from the adrenaline. "Your abilities," Elena said, rushing to his side. "You tapped into them. You can do this, Alex. We need to keep moving." "Keep moving," he echoed, still trying to process the raw power he had unleashed. I'm just a weapon." "No." Elena shook her head, fierce determination in her eyes. "You're so much more than that. You can choose to fight back against them. This is your moment." They pressed on through the labyrinthine hallways, the sounds of pursuit echoing behind them. The tension hung thick in the air, a reminder of the danger that pursued them. Each corner they turned felt like a step deeper into the abyss, yet there was a flicker of hope, an undeniable urge to break free. "Here!" Elena pointed to a hidden door, its outline barely visible against the cold metal walls. She shoved it open, revealing a narrow escape route lined with dim emergency lights. They slipped through, and for a fleeting moment the chaos faded. The corridor was empty, but it felt like the calm before a storm. "We need to get to the surface," Elena said, urgency etched in her voice. "There's a hidden exit that leads outside." "Outside," he murmured, the word foreign yet enticing. The thought of the surface world, with its harsh realities and dark secrets, promised a freedom he desperately craved. As they rushed through the corridor, the alarms continued to blare, a constant reminder of the danger lurking just behind them. The sterile walls felt like a cage, each step echoing the walls of his confinement. "Alex," Elena said, slowing as they reached a junction. "Listen, when we get outside, it won't be easy. The world is not what it seems. You need to be ready for anything." "I'm ready," he replied, though doubt gnawed at him. "I don't even know who I am anymore." "You're Alex Mercer," she said fiercely, "and you're going to reclaim your life." With newfound determination, he followed her through the exit, stepping into the darkness beyond. The air was cold and biting, a stark contrast to the sterile confines of the lab. For the first time, he felt a sense of freedom, a flicker of hope igniting within him. But as they emerged into the night, the distant sounds of pursuit echoed behind them. "Run!" Elena shouted, and they took off into the unknown, the shadows of the dumb fading behind them. In that moment, Alex felt a rush of clarity. This was his awakening, the beginning of a journey that would lead him to the truth of who he was, and the fight that lay ahead against the Black Crown families and the one-world government. 2 echoes of the past. The wind howled like a banshee at the edge of the ice wall, its icy breath swirling around Alex Mercer and Dr. Elena Vasquez as they stood on the precipice of the unknown. The vast expanse of snow and ice stretched before them, a desolate canvas marred only by jagged formations that pierced the horizon like ancient ruins frozen in time. The sunlight, pale and weak, struggled to break through the dark clouds hanging above, casting a muted glow on the landscape where secrets lay buried beneath layers of frost and history. "Move with purpose, Alex," Elena urged, her voice cutting through the chill. She adjusted the straps of her gear, her eyes scanning the horizon as if it held the answers they sought. "The Tartarian ruins are out there, hidden beneath the ice. We need to find them before they find us?" Alex finished, his tone heavy with the weight of unspoken fears and memories that clawed at his mind. He had seen the icy depths of his past reflected in the remnants of the structures they sought, and the thought made his skin crawl. "You know I can't just forget what I've done." Elena turned to him, her dark hair whipping around her face in the wind. "You're not that person anymore, Alex. We're not here to relive the past. We're here to understand it. The answers we seek could help dismantle the system that created us." "Created me," he muttered under his breath, the words bitter on his tongue. He was a super soldier, a weapon crafted by the Black Crown families, and the memories of his training, the screams, the blood, haunted him. He felt the echoes of those lives lost in his hands, and the guilt twisted like a knife in his gut. As they moved forward, the landscape shifted, presenting them with towering ice formations that resembled the skeletal remains of colossal structures. They stepped carefully through the frozen labyrinth, the crunch of their boots on the snow the only sound in the eerie stillness. A part of him was fascinated by the ruins, by the technology that once thrived there, but another part was consumed by the shadows of his past. "What do you know about the resonance technology?" Alex asked, breaking the silence as they weaved through the ancient formations. Elena paused, her brow furrowing as she considered her response. "It said that the Tartarians understood the fabric of reality in ways we can only dream of. They harnessed frequencies to manipulate the world around them, to create and heal. Some believe that the remnants of their technology still lie beneath the ice, waiting to be awakened." He nodded, but the memories of his own manipulations, the power he had wielded as a soldier, flashed in his mind. And what about the cost? What did it take to gain that power? "Because I know the price. I've paid it." "Every power has its price, Alex," she replied softly, her eyes meeting his. "But it's not too late for you. You can choose to use your abilities for good now, to free others from the chains that bind them. That's why we're here." They continued on, the wind howling around them like the ghosts of the past. Just then, Alex stumbled, his foot catching on an uneven patch of ice. He fell forward, his hand slamming down on the ground to steady himself. As he did, a ripple of energy surged through him, and the world shifted. Visions flooded his mind, flashes of a sterile facility, bright lights blinding him, the smell of antiseptic and fear. He saw himself as a child, training endlessly, his body pushed to its limits. He felt the weight of a gun in his hands, the recoil, and the cries of those who fell before him. "Alex!" Elena's voice broke through the haze, pulling him back to the present. "Are you all right?" "Yeah," he gasped, shaken. "Just a memory." "Don't let it consume you," she warned, placing a hand on his shoulder. "You're stronger than the past." With a deep breath, he nodded, pushing the memories aside as they pressed on, the ice formations growing larger and more imposing. The air crackled with a strange energy, and Alex could feel the hum of resonance beneath the surface, a siren call beckoning them closer. As they rounded a particularly massive formation, Elena stopped, her eyes widening in awe. "Look," she exclaimed, pointing. Before them stood a massive archway, intricately carved with glyphs that glowed faintly in the twilight. This must be it, the entrance to the chamber. "What if it's a trap?" Alex asked, hesitating. "What if they're waiting for us?" "Then we'll be ready," she replied, her determination unwavering. "We have to know what lies within." With a nod, they approached the archway. the air thick with anticipation. As they stepped through, the world around them shifted, the cold air replaced by a warm, resonant hum that vibrated through their bones. The chamber was vast, its walls lined with strange devices and symbols that pulsed with energy. In the center lay an enormous crystalline structure radiating a brilliant light that illuminated the chamber. "Can you feel that?" Alex whispered, his heart racing. "It's alive." "It's resonance technology," Elena said, her voice barely above a whisper. "This could change everything." As they moved closer, Alex felt an overwhelming urge to reach out, to touch the crystal. He approached it cautiously, his fingers hovering just above its surface. The moment he made contact, a surge of energy coursed through him, and the glyphs around the room erupted in light. Memories flooded his mind like a raging tide, visions of combat, of being unleashed upon the world like a ravenous beast. He saw faces, friends turned enemies, comrades lost in the chaos of war. With each pulse of energy, guilt gnawed at him, twisting in his gut. "No!" he shouted, pulling his hand away. "Get out of my head!" "Alex!" Elena rushed to his side, concern etched on her face. "What's happening? I can see everything," he gasped, fighting to regain control. "The soldiers, the missions, the lives I took. Focus on the present. You're not that man anymore," she urged, her voice steadying him. "You are not alone." With her words anchoring him, Alex forced himself to breathe, grounding himself in the here and now. Gradually, the memories receded, and he felt the power of the crystal begin to resonate with him, amplifying his own abilities. The chamber thrummed with energy, and he realized he could manipulate the frequency of the resonance to channel his powers. "Do you feel it?" Elena asked, her eyes wide with excitement. "You're tapping into it." Just then, the sounds of boots crunching against snow echoed from outside the chamber, breaking their focus. Alex's heart raced. "We're not alone," he warned, his voice low. Before Elena could respond, the entrance burst open, and a group of soldiers stormed in, led by none other than Master Chief Cletus Rogers. His eyes gleamed with cold authority, and a cruel smile spread across his face as he took in the scene. "Well, well, if it isn't the prodigal soldier," Rogers sneered, his voice dripping with disdain. "What a shame to see you here, Alex. I would have expected you to be hiding in the shadows, not flaunting your treachery amongst the ruins of the past." "Rogers," Alex spat, anger bubbling beneath the surface. "You have no idea what you're walking into." "Oh, I have a pretty good idea," Rogers replied, his soldiers spreading out behind him, weapons drawn. "You think you can change the past? That this ancient technology will somehow absolve you of your sins? You're still a weapon, Mercer, nothing more." "Enough." Elena stepped forward, her hands raised. "We're not here to fight. We're here to uncover the truth." "Truth?" Rogers scoffed, glancing at the glowing crystal. "The only truth here is that you're both fools for thinking you can defy the Black Crown. We've been watching you." Alex felt the heat of rage boiling within him, memories of betrayal surging to the forefront. "You don't understand what we're capable of," he said, his voice low and dangerous. "You've underestimated us for the last time." Rogers chuckled darkly. "You're still the same scared little soldier I trained, Alex. I'll show you what real power looks like." With a flick of his wrist, he signaled his soldiers to advance, and chaos erupted in an instant. Alex felt the resonance energy surge within him, the crystal amplifying his abilities, and he tapped into it instinctively. "Stay back," he shouted, channeling the energy into a pulse that rippled through the chamber, sending a shockwave toward the soldiers. They staggered, disoriented, and for a moment, he felt invincible. "Elena, shield us," he called out as he prepared to unleash his power. She responded immediately, her hands weaving through the air as she conjured a protective barrier. "Now, Alex," she urged, her voice filled with urgency. With a roar, he focused the resonance energy, directing it at Rogers and his soldiers. The air crackled with energy as a beam of vibrant light shot forth, striking the ground before them and causing an explosion of ice and snow. The chamber shook, and Alex felt the force of the blast resonate within him, fueling his resolve. As the dust settled, he stood tall, adrenaline coursing through his veins. "Get up," he shouted, his voice steady. "We're not finished yet." Rogers, shaking off the effects of the blast, glared at Alex with a mixture of anger and surprise. "You think this is over? You've only just begun to understand what you're up against." With a grim determination, Alex faced him, channeling the resonance technology to amplify his strength. "I'm done being a pawn in your game, Cletus. I will not let you take any more lives." As the two clashed, the chamber erupted into chaos, the air electric with energy and the sounds of combat. Elena fought alongside him, using her own skills to shield them from incoming fire, her confidence a steadying force as Alex struggled with the turmoil within. In that moment, he understood. He was no longer just a super soldier, he was a fighter for a cause greater than himself. The echoes of the past would not define him. They would fuel his resolve to dismantle the very system that created him. With each blow, he channeled his guilt and anger into determination, fighting not just for his own redemption, but for the freedom of those still trapped under the Black Crown's iron grip. As the battle raged on, Alex felt a sense of belonging for the first time, surrounded by allies who shared his struggle. They fought not just for survival, but for the truth buried beneath layers of ice and deception. In the chaos, he caught a glimpse of Elena standing resolute beside him. Their eyes met, and in that moment he knew they were not alone. Together, they would uncover the truths hidden beneath the ice wall, and together they would forge a new path. "Let's finish this!" Alex shouted, rallying the remnants of the past into a future of hope and rebellion. The ice around them trembled, and with the power of resonance at their fingertips, they would rise against the darkness that sought to consume them. As the final echoes of battle faded, they stood united among the ruins, their spirits renewed and their resolve unbreakable. The icy expanse stretched out before them, a reminder of the hidden truths yet to be uncovered beneath the surface, and they knew their journey was far from over. Together, they would confront the looming threat of the Black Crown, armed not just with weapons, but with the power of the past, the strength of their newfound alliances, and the relentless will to reclaim their future. 3. The Heart of Darkness. The stark contrast between the frigid wasteland outside and the warm glow of the ancient Tartarian library was like stepping from a world of despair into one of dreams. The walls of the library pulsed with a bioluminescent light, shimmering like the surface of a tranquil sea under the moonlight. Dust motes swirled in the air, illuminated by the soft glow, creating an ethereal atmosphere that felt almost sacred. Alex Mercer stood at the entrance, his breath hitching momentarily at the sight before him. The very air thrummed with the weight of ancient knowledge, a library forgotten by time, yet alive with possibility. "Welcome to the heart of our history," Dr. Elena Vasquez said, her voice a low murmur that reverberated with reverence. She stepped forward, her long dark hair trailing down her back, and gestured toward the towering shelves that seemed to stretch into infinity. "This is where our past meets our future." "Let's not waste time," Cade Thorne chimed in, his voice gravelly and commanding. He stood with arms crossed, his cybernetic arm glinting in the flickering light. "Roger's forces will be here soon. We need to find the Atlantean crystal heart and get out." Mira, a new ally and skilled linguist, nodded in agreement. "And we need to be careful. The Black Crown's dark magic could be lurking in these shadows." Her green eyes darted about, a mix of excitement and anxiety reflected in her gaze. As the group split into pairs, Alex found himself alongside Elena. They walked deeper into the library, the air growing thicker with dust and the scent of aged parchment. Alex's heart raced, not just from adrenaline, but from the weight of the moment. Here lay the knowledge that could turn the tide against the one-world government, and yet it felt like stepping into the maw of a beast. "Look at this," Alex said, stopping before a massive tome resting on a pedestal. Its cover shimmered with intricate patterns that danced in the bioluminescent light. "It's beautiful." Elena leaned closer, her brow furrowing with concentration. "This is a record of the Atlantean crystal heart's properties," she said, carefully flipping through the brittle pages. It says here that it can amplify our abilities, enhance our resonance, but at what cost? Her voice was laced with worry, the moral dilemma hanging heavy between them. Power always comes with a price, Alex replied, his mind racing. But if we can harness it, we could finally challenge the Black Crown families. I'm not suggesting we use it recklessly, Elena countered, her sharp brown eyes meeting his. We have to consider the consequences. Every time we push the boundaries, we risk losing ourselves. Before Alex could respond, a cold shiver ran down his spine. The atmosphere shifted, the warmth of the library dimming as shadows crept along the walls. A low rumble echoed, growing louder and more oppressive, and Alex glanced at Elena, his heart pounding. What is that? Suddenly, dark manifestations began to materialize from the shadows, swirling shapes that coalesced into figures with hollow eyes and twisted features. They were remnants of the Black Crown's dark magic, guardians of the secrets within the library. "Alex!" Elena shouted, her voice cutting through the rising panic. "We have to fight!" The group converged, standing shoulder to shoulder as the dark forces advanced. Cade moved first, launching himself into the fray with a fluidity that belied his size, his cybernetic arms striking out with precision. Mira joined him, her hands weaving through the air as she called upon the ancient spells she had learned. "Converge your frequencies!" Elena shouted, her voice steady amidst the chaos. "We need to amplify our energy!" Alex felt the pulse of the library, the resonance of their collective power thrumming in the air. It was a sensation he had only begun to understand, but now it coursed through him like wildfire. Closing his eyes, he focused, tapping into his frequency manipulation abilities. He could feel the vibrations of the dark entities, their malevolence clashing against his own energy. "Now!" Elena commanded, and with a surge of will, Alex formed a protective barrier, a shimmering wave of energy that pushed back against the dark forces. The shadows recoiled, but the pressure was relentless. "Keep it strong," Cade shouted, his voice strained as he fended off a wicked apparition, the shadows clawing at his solid form. "We can't let them break through." Elena began to chant, her voice rising in a haunting melody that resonated with the library's walls. Alex felt the vibrations harmonize with his own frequency, amplifying the barrier around them. With each word she spoke, the darkness flickered, as if the very fabric of reality was bending to their will. In a moment of clarity, Alex recalled a memory of his training, the lessons taught by his mentors. He poured his emotions into the barrier, harmonizing with Elena's chant, and suddenly the dark manifestations began to dissolve in the light of their collective energy. With a final, powerful pulse, the barrier burst outward, scattering the shadows like smoke in the wind. The library trembled with the force of their victory, and Alex opened his eyes to see the remnants of darkness evaporate into nothingness. Panting, he looked at Elena, who was smiling, albeit with worry etched into her features. "You did it, Alex. You tapped into your true potential." "Yeah, but they were just the beginning," he replied, still feeling the adrenaline coursing through his veins. "We need to find the crystal heart before more of them show up." They moved deeper into the library, the atmosphere thick with anticipation. The shelves towered around them, filled with scrolls and crystalline orbs pulsing with energy, each one a relic of the past. The air crackled as they approached a grand chamber adorned with intricate carvings that glowed faintly, drawing them closer. "This must be it," Mira said quietly, awe filling her voice as she gazed at the chamber's entrance. The resonance chamber. Inside, the walls were lined with stones that vibrated softly, resonating with an energy that felt alive. In the center of the chamber stood a pedestal, and upon it rested the Atlantean crystal heart, radiating a brilliant light that illuminated the entire room. It pulsed rhythmically, almost as if it were in sync with Alex's own heartbeat. "It's beautiful," Elena whispered, stepping forward, "but it's locked behind a resonance barrier. We need to unlock it with harmonic frequencies." "Can you guide me?" Alex asked, his heart hammering in his chest. "I want to be ready." Elena nodded, her expression serious. "You have to tap into your emotions, your memories. Focus on what drives you, the people you fight for. It's about more than just power. It's about connection. Taking a deep breath, Alex closed his eyes, remembering the faces of those he had lost, the pain of his past, and the hope of a future free from oppression. He thought of Elena, Cade, and Mira, each one a part of this fight for freedom. "Let's do this," he murmured, opening his eyes to the pulsing light of the heart. He stepped forward, channeling the collective energy, harmonizing with the resonant stones around him. As he focused, the stones vibrated in response, the sound swelling in intensity, a symphony of resonance building within the chamber. Alex felt the vibrations surge through him, connecting him to the heart, to the very essence of what it represented. "Now, Alex," Elena urged, her voice cutting through the crescendo. "Channel everything into it." With a surge of determination, Alex reached out, touching the heart, and in that moment visions flooded his mind. Past users wielding the heart's power, their triumphs and failures, the choice between creation and destruction. He felt the weight of its potential, a tool for both freedom and tyranny, and the responsibility it carried. "It's incredible," Mira gasped, her eyes wide as the light enveloped them. "What do you see?" "I see choices," Alex replied, his voice almost lost in the radiance. "The heart can reshape our reality, but we must wield it wisely." As the chamber filled with light, the vibrations intensified, echoing through the very foundations of the library. Alex felt himself shifting, not just as a soldier, but as a leader, embracing his identity and the potential that lay before him. Suddenly, the light dimmed, and the resonance chamber began to tremble. "We need to go," Cade shouted, urgency in his voice. "Roger's forces must be closing in." "Quickly, grab the heart," Elena commanded, her eyes fierce. With a final surge of energy, Alex took the crystal heart in his hands, feeling its power course through him like a river of light. The moment he held it, the chamber flooded with a brilliant glow, and the oppressive air around them lifted. "Let's move!" Alex shouted, leading the way out of the chamber, the heart pulsing in tandem with his heartbeat. As they raced back through the library, the distant sound of marching boots echoed ominously, drawing closer with each passing second. Bursting through the entrance, they emerged into the cold, biting air of the wasteland, the icy winds whipping against their faces. The library stood behind them, a fortress of knowledge, now a sanctuary of hope. "What now?" Mira asked, looking at Alex, her breath visible in the frigid air. "We prepare for the fight of our lives," Alex replied, his grip tightening around the heart. "This is just the beginning. With the crystal heart, we can rally the remnant and ignite a rebellion against the Black Crown families." As the distant sounds of Roger's forces grew louder, Alex felt the weight of the heart in his hands, pulsing with a life of its own. It was a tool for change, but also a reminder of the choices they had to make. Freedom was within reach, but it would come at a cost. He turned to his comrades, determination etched into his features. "We'll face them together. For every lost soul, for every sacrifice, we fight back. The future is ours to shape." And with that, the group moved forward into the bitter cold, united in purpose and resolve, ready to confront the darkness that lay ahead. The time for change was upon them, and they would wield the power of the crystal heart to reclaim their world from the shadows.